Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we are completely shifting how you think about scaling a brokerage. If you've been working tirelessly behind the scenes building what you know is the perfect trading environment, only to sit back and wonder why deposits aren't exactly flooding in, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to dive into the data and the underlying psychology to prove that perception, not just your infrastructure, is what actually drives deposits. Let's just jump right into a pretty jarring truth that serves as the ultimate bottleneck for growth in the modern Forex industry. It's devastatingly simple. If your broker looks small, traders automatically assume it's risky. And honestly, this is exactly why most brokers never scale. They hit this invisible ceiling, completely unaware that their external image is just silently sabotaging their internal excellence.
Let's unpack this in part 1, the broker's trap.
So many brokers fall victim to what we call the infrastructure illusion. You know the drill, pouring your absolute soul into building superior technology. You spend countless hours tightening up those spreads and perfecting your server execution. And you're operating under the logical but fatally flawed assumption that the market will just inherently reward the best product. You think, hey, if I build a faster, cheaper machine, the traders are going to automatically show up. But here is the harsh, incredibly frustrating reality. Even if your tech is better, your spreads are lower, and your execution is literally fractions of a second faster, you still lose the customer. I know, it feels totally unfair, right? You built the better mousetrap, but the mice are just going somewhere else entirely. So why does this happen? Because in a landscape completely flooded with noise, massive competition, and endless choices, a trader's perception of your size absolutely dominates the reality of your technology. The industry has evolved. There are way more brokers and far more noise than ever before. And in this kind of environment, the one single thing that decides everything isn't your latency, it's trust. And trust is driven entirely by perception. Okay, moving right along to part 2, how traders actually decide. First, we've got to shatter a massive myth. Imagine a trader, let's call him Alex, looking to deposit 10 grand. We love to imagine Alex as this highly analytical guy, doing deep forensic research on our liquidity pools and running these intense side-by-side comparisons of our operational infrastructure. We just assume he's auditing a back end. But the reality? He is doing absolutely none of that. Instead of auditing you, Alex scans. That's it. He pulls up a search engine, types in your brokerage's name, and makes a definitive, split-second judgment based purely on what pops up on that very first page. Whatever he sees in that immediate 3-second scan decides absolutely everything about what he does next. And what exactly is he scanning for? He's looking for trust signals. Traders don't choose brokers based on feature lists or platform colors. They choose them based on visible, emotional triggers that dictate their feeling of safety in mere seconds. This fundamentally reframes the whole decision-making process. It's not about your backend technology at all. It's about these really fast psychological cues. These core signals are things like licensing visibility, reviews, media presence, and search results. It really is a binary equation in the trader's mind. If your broker appears everywhere across these specific channels, the trader inherently feels safe. But if they search your name and you appear literally nowhere, they immediately feel risk. And in the Forex world, perceived risk kills deposits right on the spot. Which brings us to part 3, the credibility gap. This perfectly illustrates the disconnect between what you've meticulously built internally and what the trader actually sees externally. Internally, reality is that you have solid liquidity, lightning-fast execution, and incredibly clean operations. You're a fortress. But externally, the perception is that if you lack those trust signals, you look small, invisible, and therefore highly risky. No matter how clean your operations are, you are fighting basic human nature here. The human brain is hardwired to assume that what is small and unknown is inherently unsafe. Unknown literally equals dangerous. Invisible equals untrusted. It does not matter what your operational reality actually is. If traders feel risk, they're simply going to take their deposits to the other guy. So here's the million-dollar question, right? If we know for a fact that traders don't take risks with small-looking brokers, how do we artificially engineer that vital perception of massive size and safety? How do completely unknown brokers suddenly start looking like these massive global powerhouses?
Enter Part 4, the Perception Engine.
The answer lies in totally shifting our focus. We have to stop just building great internal tools and start aggressively showing them off everywhere. Smart brokers deploy an omnipresent strategy. They make absolutely sure their name appears again and again and again across all these critical third-party validation points. They aren't just on one niche industry site. They're on major media platforms, they dominate the search results, and they secure constant news mentions. They are quite literally everywhere the scanning trader looks.
Now, to be crystal clear, we aren't just talking about throwing together a few casual blog posts here. This is not your typical content marketing. This is deliberate, highly calculated perception control. It's strategic positioning designed specifically to manufacture and engineer trust the exact millisecond a prospective trader scans your name.
Let's look at how this all comes together in Part 5, the power of credibility stacking. It happens through this amazing escalation of trust. It starts small. Just one article creates some basic awareness. Then you secure 10 mentions across respected platforms, and boom, you've built real credibility. Finally, you maintain consistent, unending visibility, and that creates absolute authority. By systematically stacking these PR wins, a completely unknown broker can effectively hack the system and suddenly appear as a highly trusted major global player.
To wrap up the core logic here, visibility creates size perception, and size perception creates trust. You absolutely have to fix your perceived size before you can ever realistically hope to scale your actual deposits. Bridging this credibility gap is the whole secret to scaling.
I really want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. If your broker looks small, you are already losing. If perception completely controls your ability to scale, what is the internet telling traders about your size right now, in this very moment? If you want to take control of that perception, it is definitely time to deeply explore the PR strategies and the perception engine we've unpacked today. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.